Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ad America TV. My name is Anton. I'm one of Ad America's e-guides. And Ad America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center here in Jakarta. And our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. We would like to welcome all of our audience joining us online. And for now, Ad America has solely moved to a digital platform, so you can enjoy us from the comfort of your own home. And in tonight's episode, we will be discussing about the NFL with NFL Fans Indonesia. So if you are a fan of the NFL and of the sport, this is definitely the event for you. And before we start tonight's event, I would like to break the ice with a little question. And the question for today is, which NFL player has the nickname Beast Mode? I'll repeat the question one more time. Which NFL player has the nickname Beast Mode? You can answer this question on our social media platforms, so leave your answers there if you know the answer to this question. And without further ado, to start tonight's event, I would like to invite our moderator for tonight, Fadil Arik Saputra. Hello, Fadil. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing very great tonight. Very great.
Okay, please take it away.
Okay, welcome everyone to, maybe this is a new, not new, actually, a special edition of Boot Review, because Boot Review is one of our program to interview some of the public figure or people who watch NFL all the time. But for today, we have a special guest. He is from U.S. Embassy in Jakarta. His name is Mark Neighbors. So Mike Neighbors is before I introduce Mike Neighbors, I want to say hello to Mike Neighbors. Hi Mark.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
So
Great?
happy to be here.
Oh yeah. So I see that you are a Cowboys fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Since birth.
Since birth. Wow, that's great. But why Cowboys still not going to the championship game since 1994, I guess.
Yes. This has been one of the big challenges of the last 25 years. I think when you're a true fan, you love your team no matter how good or bad they are.
Yeah.
But yes, it's been very frustrating because really the first 30, I think it's the first 36 years of the Cowboys' existence. They were in 16 NFC championships. They made it to, and of course they were in 8 Super Bowls, winning 5 of them. So, for a very long period of life, for the first half of my life, it was a glorious time. It has not been nearly as successful the last 25 years or so, but nonetheless, I'm still hopeful. I think maybe this time, maybe coming soon, I think we have things figured out.
Yeah.
As long as we can get Dak Prescott signed long term, I think maybe we have some good times ahead. But yes, it's been very, very challenging. I think one of the tough parts is the pressure of being a Cowboys player is immense. And I can talk a little bit about how the Cowboys became such a popular team and had such a spotlight on them. But not every NFL player wants that kind of attention and pressure. I mean, for example, the owner of the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, is a great guy, a Hall of Fame owner.
Yeah.
But he has a radio show. Every week he's on the radio.
Really?
He takes calls from fans.
What's the radio name?
No other. I forget what the radio station is. I'll look it up and I can try and send it to you.
Okay.
But he takes questions from people who call in. And he's always talking about the team and which players, he thinks are gonna be really, really good, and that's a lot of pressure. Not every player enjoys the spotlight of, because some owners, they show up on the day of the game, but the rest of the year you never hear about them. I mean, Jerry Jones is one of the few owners most people can name in the NFL. I can't name a lot of the NFL owners, and I know a lot about the NFL just because some of them you never see them in public. They don't talk much. You only hear about them if they win the Super Bowl and they stand in the trophy ceremony. So it's a very different feel there. It's pretty unique, and so I think the pressure sometimes can be a challenge, and also because the NFL moved to a stricter salary system. So it can be harder to keep some of the players, and so that's always a pressure. That's actually what makes the Patriots dynasty so remarkable. Is that they managed to be good for such a long time and be competitive, even when salaries are much more restricted than they used to be in a lot of ways. So.
Okay, great. But before we continue, I want to introduce Mark Neighbors first.
Oh yeah, sure, of course, please. I'm sorry.
And of course, maybe some of you not knowing me. So hello, my name is Fadil. I am the founder of NFL Fans Indonesia. So we are a community from Indonesia that loves and probably bleeds NFL because we watch NFL all the time. And then we hope that 2020 season will go on. And then so I want to introduce Mike Neighbors first. Mike Neighbors is a political officer at the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta, and more importantly, a lifelong Dallas Cowboys fans. Nah, for you who watch this, who are Cowboys fans, just write in the comment. Right, this is our year. Maybe Mike Neighbors, is this our year again?
I'm always hopeful, but I think we have a good shot. I think the offense is going to be. It's going to be a well-oiled machine. We can talk a little bit about that in a little bit.
Okay. So Mark Neighbors is a lifelong Dallas Cowboys fan. And then before serving in Jakarta, Mark worked in the State Department's Office of Chinese and Mongolian Affairs in Washington, D.C., and also served in Beijing and Rio de Janeiro. In his spare time, Mark devours any and all information about American football. Guns N' Roses. Wow. Guns N' Roses.
That's right, Guns N' Roses.
Any of you who watch this, who are Guns N' Roses fans, write in the comments. And Batman. Wow, you are fans of Batman.
Oh, yeah, of course. Definitely.
Wow, great. And loves to talk all day and night about it. So we're going to talk on this session about American football. And then I want to ask first, but before we enter the Cowboys topic that probably
sure
have some long topic, especially Dak Prescott's contract.
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to ask first, why do Americans embrace football so much more than soccer like the rest of the world, aside from USA being the country of the origin? Why? As far as I know, that in USA there are 4 major sports like NFL, football, of course, NBA basketball, NHL hockey, and MLB baseball. But based on your perspective, which one is the most watched sport in USA?
Oh, I think the NFL.
The NFL
I think is the one. Yeah. Part of the reason of that is because there are much fewer games, right? There's only 16 regular season games and then a few weeks of the playoffs.
Yes.
So it's much more of an event every week when you have the games, and it becomes a much more special occasion. Baseball is great. I love baseball too, but it's 162 games in the regular season.
That's
a lot. It's a lot. So it's every day. It's on all the time, and so it's a very different feeling because it's just always on during the summer. And the other thing too is football's played in the winter, so it's cold outside.
Yes.
People are at home more, so you have more to do during the summer. So you're going to go out and do other things. So whereas the winter in the U.S., because a lot of the United States, the weather is very cold during the winter, so you're staying indoors. It's on a Sunday, so most people don't have to work, so you can sit back and enjoy something on television that is exciting to watch. And I think one of the reasons is the U.S. uniquely likes football was it wasn't entirely by accident. A lot of it started even over 100 years ago. When the U.S. was when sport was becoming a thing that people had time to do, as people's jobs changed, and not everybody was working on the farm and all day. You had the invention of weekends, really, where people had more time off and more leisure time and more money and time to spend. They were playing different sports, and Americans were trying out rugby and soccer. They were playing a little bit of that, but then they decided that they wanted to try something unique and take a different spin on it, because I think Americans like a lot of excitement, especially in bursts of excitement, the way the NFL has. And the reason that had happened was because they decided to allow the forward pass. That was a huge development. Because rugby is exciting, but because you can only pass the ball sideways, and most of the time you're just running with the ball. The chances for explosive plays, really long runs and catches and feats of athleticism, the forward pass allows that, and I think it because of that excitement, people really, really liked it. And then because of the way they very strategically they put it on Sunday when people have time off, and they put it in the winter when people have less that they can do outside in a lot of the U.S. So it was very strategic, and it seemed to work very, very well. And I think also having the only 16 regular season games, it's sort of the principle of you give people what they want, but you don't give them so much that they get sick of it. It's just enough, because you feel that excitement on Sunday, and then for the Monday night game, and then all of a sudden you have the rest of the week, and you're like, man, that was such a great weekend. I can't wait to feel that feeling again. And so you have to wait a few days, and you're so excited, and you build all this excitement, and then boom, on Sunday again, you turn the TV on or you go to the stadium, and oh wow, this is very exciting.
That's true. I agree totally. And for your info, in Indonesia, we always watch NFL on probably early morning, like 1 a.m., 4 a.m.
Right.
We still sleep, but because we love to watch NFL so much, we can miss one of our favorite teams' match. So if our team wins, we can get a great Monday. But if our team lose, so it's another Monday, another bad Monday.
Oh yes, I hear you. Yeah, and actually, I think that was one of your questions too, was how sort of I follow the NFL. And yes, I do the same thing during NFL season. I don't sleep as much because I stay up late watching the games on streaming. I do that, or what I try to do is, if I miss a game, I have with my streaming package that I purchased from the NFL.com. You can watch the replay of the game online. So what I do is I just don't check the internet for sports scores.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's very hard, right? Because I have friends who are still watching, and they'll be like, "Oh, did you see?" I'm like, "Don't tell me anything. Don't say a word.
Don't any spoiler, please."
I don't want to know. I don't want spoilers. And so if I miss something, the next night, on Monday night, I will watch some of the replay.
Awesome.
And so that's how I follow. But yes, it's definitely a challenge, but it's sort of actually kind of an adventure too, because then it makes you really appreciate in many ways the league more, because you're making such an effort to see it.
I agree. But I want to ask a bit, what's your favorite baseball team?
Oh, favorite baseball team?
Yeah.
Actually, like the St. Louis Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals.
And it's,
wow.
Yeah. So the reason for that is, so actually, Dallas, Texas has a baseball team.
Yeah, Texas Rangers, right?
Texas Rangers, who are a great team, and I mean, I don't dislike them. I like them too. But
Yeah.
The reason I'm a Cardinals fan is because when my family is from Oklahoma and Texas.
Oh,
and so when my grandfather was growing up in the 1920s and 1930s, there weren't any professional baseball teams in that part of the country yet. That came much, much later. And so the only team that my grandfather could hear on the radio, because this was before television, so they just had a tiny little radio, and you could pick up the broadcasts from Missouri, which is one state over from Oklahoma. And so he could hear the games being broadcast. And so he started following the Cardinals, and he's liked them ever since. And then my father grew up a Cardinals fan, and then I'm a Cardinals fan. So
wow, what a great story.
And it's actually very similar with the Cowboys. They started a little bit later. They started in the 1960s in Dallas, but it was very, very exciting. Dallas was an up and coming city then. It was just starting to become prominent because of oil and gas industry. And so the Cowboys were the team for, if you were from Oklahoma and Texas, that was the team you followed. And so my grandfather was a fan. My father was a fan. And therefore I was a fan. There's pictures of me as a baby, and I'm wearing the baby clothes with the Cowboys star on it.
Cowboys
even from when I was a kid.
Cowboys since born.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And even when I was a kid, and I loved them, and in the late 80s, the Cowboys were quite bad. This was before we drafted Troy Aikman and everything, and so I still remember the quarterback was Steve Pallure. Very nice guy. Steve Pallure. He was a very nice guy. Not a very good quarterback. and I still like them. And that's what my father told me. He was like, if you're a true fan, you have to stick with your team, even, when they're terrible. And he's like, you just have to hope that good days come along. And then when I was in secondary school, that's when that was the peak. That was the triplets. Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman.
The triplets, eh?
The triplets. Oh, those were glorious times. It was perfect. I was a teenage boy. My team was always winning. It was fun.
For those of you who watch, listen to Mark. Support your team no matter what's the condition.
It's
because
true.
As we know, Tom Brady goes to Buccaneers. A lot of Patriots fans goes to Buccaneers.
Right. I mean,
sorry, Patriots fans.
About the Patriots too for a long time the Patriots were a poorly managed franchise. They really struggled. I mean, they would have a few good seasons here and there, but they were really not very great. And then they changed ownership, and then they hired Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
You draft Tom Brady in a late round, I think sixth round. Sixth round. Sorry,
199th pick. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then everything changed, and now they're the dominant franchise in the NFL. And so, things can change overnight. You go from a team that no one pays any attention to all of a sudden you're the team of the moment.
Yeah, the dynasty for 2 decades, right? From 2000
2 decades, exactly. 2009. And so, so that's what's fun about sports, right? And that's what's good about it is your team can turn around. And same with the Chiefs fans, right? I have a few good friends who are huge Chiefs fans, and their whole lives never saw a Super Bowl win. But they stick with it. And then all of a sudden last year, and now you got Patrick Mahomes, and who knows how many rings he's going to win. He's so good. So, you just have to stick with it. It's
Mahomes.
It's
Mahomes,
one of those things.
Mahomes probably the future GOAT. Yeah.
Oh, I know. He's something else. He's really crazy to watch.
Crazy. Yeah. Okay. Well, we know a lot of athletes, football, basketball, and all of athletes have some rough road to become an athlete. So, from your point of view, what does it take for an American child growing up with dreams of becoming a pro football player to start his journey from the early years, like from kids, from elementary? So what does it take
to
be in American football? Yeah.
one of the interesting things that the U.S. does a little bit different than, say, Europe and Asia for preparing children to be athletes is you don't focus them on one sport so early.
Oh, wow, interesting.
That you actually let them play lots of different sports, whether it's soccer or baseball or football, or basketball, or running track and field or playing tennis. You want them to have a wide variety of choices. One, because you don't want to feel like they're being forced to play something, but also it gives them a chance to develop different abilities within athletics, and because all of these different abilities can serve you well regardless of what sport you play. And I think a good example, actually, we were just talking about Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was also an incredible basketball player. Incredible baseball player. His father was a professional baseball player.
So that's true.
Baseball. And they've done interviews with him and with his family and friends, and they said, growing up, we thought he was going to be an NBA star. He was so good at basketball. We thought that was what he was going to do. And what he said was he actually loved football more, and that's one of the reasons he decided to go in that direction. But he said the skills he learned playing basketball, like being a point guard, learning how to pass the ball to other players, learning how to see the athletic, the court in basketball's case, but also the field, like understanding where people are and how people move. He learned that actually from playing basketball. And and he said it helped him playing football because he had an understanding of, as the quarterback, as the leader of the offense, I need to see all the things that are going on. I need to teach my fellow players how to move without the ball so that they know that and trust that I can get them the ball where they're going to be, not where they're standing right now, but maybe where they'll be in 1 second. Because he understood, I know this guy is fast, or I know he may be slow, but he's very, very tricky, and he's going to do a move that fakes out the defender. And so I'm going to throw the ball in that direction because I just know that's where he's going. And he said he learned that. So I think that's one of the keys. It's not necessarily to pick a sport so early, because in Europe, they find the talent. And it works very, very well too. So it's just a different way of doing it. But their idea is you find the people who are talented at the one sport, whether it's soccer or gymnastics or basketball or rugby, and you say, okay, this kid seems to really like it and he's very, very good at it. Let's start developing him in that sport only. We'll send him to special academies and everything. In the US, it's different. We try to have a wider range of choices. And that way, hopefully, naturally, it'll come to you and say, like, hey, I think I'm better at this one. I'm going to focus on this one sport or these two sports. And then hopefully I'll get the attention of professional leagues and be able to join them. So
So like in Mahomes' case, like he was a great basketball player. He played baseball too. So from baseball, his throwing power gained from baseball.
Yes, absolutely. For sure. It really developed his arm strength and his accuracy. I mean, that's one of the reasons he can throw the ball long distance, but get it exactly where it needs to be, is because as a baseball player, as a pitcher, especially, he was always throwing the ball and he had to be very, very exact. So he learned that from there too. So
and from the basketball experience for Mahomes, like he can read which one is good, which one can be attacked, which one.
A lot of what he did was he learned how to read a defense, and because basketball, it's a smaller roster, right? It's a smaller team. It's only 5 people on your team on the court. So he learned how to get close to different players and to play to their strengths too. Because as a point guard, it's similar to a quarterback. You're the one with the ball most of the time, and you're the one setting up the offense. You're the one who has to, if you're a good point guard, you're getting the players the ball in the place where they need it so that they can shoot baskets and score. And it's the same in football, right? Like you can't do it yourself, but you need to help your teammates get in position so that they can excel as well. And a good quarterback does that. You know, they don't just throw the ball hoping that somebody grabs it. They throw it saying like, I know that this guy can catch it here. That's why I'm going to him. He'll find a way to get open. He'll find a way to get enough space between him and the defense to catch the ball. And
now we are going to probably your favorite topic about Cowboys. So,
all right.
As we know, Cowboys has one of the most famous nickname in NFL, or probably in the world. One of the most famous. So I want to ask, are the Cowboys really America's team?
I like to think so.
Why?
So that actually was a direct result of a very, very good management from the Cowboys in the 1970s. You know, like I said earlier, in the 60s and 70s, the city of Dallas was becoming a more famous city. It was a more developed city because of the oil and gas industry. You had a lot of people moving to Dallas, making a lot of money. So it was a city that previously, I mean, people knew about it, but it didn't have the same level of fame. And so the owners of the Cowboys and the marketing teams and the managers, the general manager and stuff, saw that like, oh, Dallas is becoming a prominent city, and the NFL is becoming a more prominent sport. And you know, this is a perfect opportunity for us to expand beyond football fans in Texas, so that, because in a lot of ways, Texas is almost like a small version of America. It's like a mini America, even though it's huge. It's bigger. You know, state of Texas is bigger than a lot of countries, but, geographically, and it has a lot of people. But they felt like, because they're called the Cowboys, you know, this is part of the American history. You know, the Cowboys is they've always been kind of heroes in American movies and books. You know, the idea of the lone gunman, you know, facing down the bad guys. That's a big part of the American story and how we see ourselves. And so it was like the Cowboys. It's a real all-American name. And Dallas is becoming a big popular city. Let's take advantage of that, and let's start branding ourselves as like, this is, you know, if you appreciate America and you love American sports, you know, this is the team for you. I mean, we were very different, I think, in a lot of ways, especially in the 1970s. Now, you know, sports are global. Individual players are global icons and brands, you know, like LeBron James and you know, Michael Jordan, of course, and you know, Lionel Messi for soccer fans and things. But back then, that was not the same way. You know, you liked your sports team because you were from that city or you were from an area near there. But the Cowboys were one of the first teams to say like, hey, obviously we love our local fans, and that's great, but we want to be more than that. We want support from all over the country. And so they tried to make it, and they were one of the first to really push the merchandise, you know, hats, t-shirts, the jerseys, you know, special shoes, cups, plates. That was really part of their idea of like, let's become more than a football team. Let's become more than a local team. Let's become something that the whole country loves. And they also understood that part of that is, when you say something like that, you'll also get a lot of people who hate you. But that's also good too, because if they hate you, maybe they fear you and they also respect you.
That's a good.
And so, you know, it's like they say in English, they hate us because they ain't us.
Okay. Yeah. They hate us because they ain't us. I forgot about the code.
So they hate us because they ain't us. It rhymes.
They hate us because they ain't us. Yeah.
But ain't means they are not. It's just it's a slang way of saying are not. So people are jealous because they want to be us. And so, but that makes people watch too, because it's like, people who don't like the Cowboys watch because it's like, oh, I'm going to watch this Cowboys game because I really want to see them lose.
Wow! I'm pretty mind blown right now because from the hatred, it becomes an opportunity to watch that team, to watch Cowboys.
Right, exactly, because that's what you see. Is it's like, oh yeah, I mean, it's, and now other sports you do that too, right? Like there's a lot of people who hate in soccer, hate Liverpool, but everybody watches Liverpool, right? Because they win, and you want a chance to shout at them and be like, "I hate you! I hope you lose! I hope all your players get hurt!" You know, like so that's part of it too. Is it's understanding. It was understanding that it's not just about loving your team, but it's also you want people to hate you and because they're talking about you still. Wow. Like it's still good publicity, and it means that people are still going to watch you because even if it's just to watch you fail, they're still watching you, right? There's still the viewership. It's still people buying tickets and buying merchandise. Yeah.
Wow. That's a very, very great formula for me.
Yeah.
Hatred becomes viewership.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's a smart way to look at it. It's like even if people don't like you, if you're a well-managed franchise and you win, people still have to watch you. I mean, it's just like I'm not a Patriots fan at all.
Yeah,
like, they drive me crazy because they win so much. But of course, I'm going to watch.
Yeah, wow, that's a great point.
Because it's like, well, they're a well-run franchise, and it's just remarkable to see a team win that much. Yeah. Of course, I'm going to keep paying attention to them, even if they crush all the teams I like.
Wow, I learned so much about hatred because there are some positive. There are some positive behind hatred.
Yes, it's true. Yeah. It's in sports. It's the one thing in life where you can say like I hate, and you know what? It's okay, right? Like in the rest of life, when you say you hate something or you hate somebody, it's generally a very bad thing. You don't want to have that kind of hate in you. But for sports, it's okay. It's sanctioned dislike too. You could be rude about it. You could scream about it, and it's okay. Everybody understands this is part of being a sports fan. And so it's nice.
Nice. Okay. Next. Because you had experience working at China and Rio, in China, Mongolian, and then Beijing and Rio de Janeiro. So how do you keep enjoying NFL from halfway across the globe? Because the struggle is the time difference.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Like I said, during the NFL season, I don't get as much sleep.
Yeah,
for sure, because I'm up much later watching these games or early in the morning. So it can be a challenge. And also, but one thing I also do besides streaming the games on the internet. Is I also play fantasy football. I don't know if that is a big thing.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's changed the way I've watched the game too, because then it forces me to pay attention to other teams that I wouldn't necessarily watch because I'm not from those teams. But all of a sudden, if you're creating your own team online from players from all over the league, all of a sudden you're like, oh, you know what? I think I will watch the Seahawks game because I have Russell Wilson is my quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
It's great. And it's fun because it makes the fan experience even bigger because all of a sudden you're paying attention to a wider world. I mean, it really opened up football for me once I started playing fantasy football. I've been playing now for, I think, 20 years.
20 years of fantasy football?
Yeah. So almost every year in the last 20 years, I've had a team. So.
Wow. Well, so I played fantasy football too for almost probably 10 years since 2010. And yeah, I gotta agree with you. Fantasy football makes me stressful all the time because
it's true.
Wow. Because if I face an opponent and then the score difference is very, very little, and then
yeah.
your only hope, your only player that hasn't scored turns out he has a bad game, and well, like for only one day you only think, why my team loses just only 1 point. Oh my god.
It's true. It can be so frustrating and heartbreaking, and it's crazy how much. I remember I saw a news story about, I think it was about 10 years ago, talking about fantasy football, and they showed they had a tracker of websites and internet traffic on different fantasy football websites, like the Yahoo Sports and ESPN Sports and NFL.com, different websites, and they showed the difference in the amount of internet traffic they get from a regular day of the week, like a Wednesday, versus Monday morning, when everybody is checking their football scores online. And, they were showing, the graph on a regular day, maybe it's here, and then on the other days, it's all the way up, top past the screen. There's so many more people looking at it. And they were joking too. So they were like, oh, can we break down how many people are doing this from home or from their phone or from the office computer? And of course, like, the amount of people from the office computer was still like 75%.
Wow,
so these people are supposed to be working. What are they doing checking fantasy football? I said, that's how much people love it. They say, you know what? I'm going to take a break from work. Give me a moment. Fantasy sports Yahoo.com or NFLfantasy.com.
I agree too, because when I work in Workday, work can wait. Fantasy can.
True.
Fantasy.
True.
Fantasy is like it's like your chance. If you win, you can brag yourself, right?
Exactly. It feels so good.
It feels so good when you beat your friend in fantasy football.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Yeah. And then this is a little bit fun question, because
sure.
Because when I read your profile that you are a huge fan of Guns N' Roses, so
right.
I want to challenge you a bit.
Okay.
Can you name the favorite NFL teams of each Guns N' Roses members?
So this is going to be tough. I'm not totally sure about this. I know
it's okay.
Slash. I know Slash is a Patriots fan, I believe.
Slash is a Patriots fan.
Yeah. So
wow.
He's been seen wearing a Tom Brady jersey before. So people, I think, and then there was some other reason. I think he was either at a Super Bowl party, where he was wearing Patriots gear, or he was hanging out with some of the Patriots players. So I'm pretty sure he's a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
And Duff McKagan, the bass player, is from Seattle. So I'm pretty sure he's a Seahawks fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he was before he joined Guns N' Roses, he was in a lot of punk and grunge bands in Seattle.
Yeah.
So he's a big Seattle sports guy. I'm pretty sure he's a Seahawks fan. Izzy Stradlin and Axl Rose, they're both from Indiana. So at first I was like, oh, they must be Colts fans. But the only thing is, the Colts only became the Indianapolis Colts in 1983 or 84. They moved from the city of Baltimore on the East Coast.
Yeah, Baltimore Colts.
So because of that, I don't think they certainly didn't grow up Colts fans, because Indiana didn't have a professional football team. But then I did remember a lot of times when the Guns N' Roses are in concert, Axl Rose, he wears a Raiders jersey.
Oh, okay.
So I think he might be a Raiders fan, because he lived along a lot of years in Los Angeles with Izzy Stradlin when they were founding and starting out in Guns N' Roses. And that's when the Raiders were in Los Angeles. It was during the 1980s. Yeah. So because of that, I think they might be Raiders fans.
Okay. But back when Raiders still in LA.
Yeah. So I think I remember, I know Axl has worn the Raiders jersey many times in concert. So I think they might be he and Izzy might be Raiders fans, but I don't know for sure.
Wow. So
Anyway.
for those of you who watch for those of you who are fans of Guns N' Roses, so Mark already told you what are the favorite teams of the members, and
yeah, exactly.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I know, it's quite fascinating.
Yeah. So and then another fun question. So you are Batman fans, so you watch.
Yes.
Of course, you watch the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So in the Dark Knight Rises, remember when there was a scene that when Bane arrived at the football stadium.
Yes, that's
which
right.
turns out it's a Heinz Field.
That's right.
My favorite team's stadium.
I know. Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. So how did you feel when the Pittsburgh Steelers were chosen by Christopher Nolan to play Gotham City rather than Cowboys?
Well, I suspected that would be the case because I remember reading that they were filming The Dark Knight Rises in the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And so, so when they said there was going to be a Gotham Knights football game, I was like, oh, I wonder if they're going to get some Steelers players to be in this, because since they filmed it in Pittsburgh, and then you see Hines Ward running with the ball, and I was like, oh wow! So actually, it was kind of exciting. It was very cool. It added a level of I think an element of the real into a comic book movie, because I mean, it would make sense if Gotham City was a real city. Of course, they would be football crazy. I mean, that's just natural. And what's funny, so I've been to Pittsburgh as a tourist.
Okay.
I went a couple. Actually, it was about 2 years ago. I went, and I went to a few of the places where they filmed The Dark Knight Rises, including the building that they used as a prison. When he goes with the tank and they blow the doors down and they let all the criminals out. I went to that place and took some pictures in front of it because it's a very nice. I think it's a research library actually.
Oh wow!
It's a very beautiful building. It's a very famous building in Pittsburgh that they used to film it. So I decided to go and check it out.
Oh wow! Well, as a lifelong football fans, my only I have a lot of bucket lists, but one of my bucket lists, and probably my top priority of bucket list, is watching Steelers live at Heinz Field. That's it.
I haven't had a chance to go see the Cowboys at the AT&T Stadium. I've been on the tour of the stadium, so I've seen it during the off season when they weren't playing games. And it's a beautiful stadium. And for Heinz Field, I've been on the outside of Heinz Field. When I went to Pittsburgh, I took a look. We walked around near the stadium just to see, because it's very beautiful. It's right on the river. It's a huge open air stadium. It's great. So it's a good place to see the game. And you can, what's fun about that is because it's in the middle of the city, basically. When they're playing a game, if you're walking near there, you can hear the crowd from outside on the street. You just hear the like the screaming of the fans.
Wow!
You can hear it. It's wild. I've never seen anything like it, because when you have the stadium in the middle of the city, a lot of stadiums in the U.S. they put them on the outside of the city because it's easier to build. The land is cheaper and there's more room. But Pittsburgh, it's right in the middle of the city, so because of that, it's a part of kind of the life of the city, and you can really hear the fans going crazy and waving the terrible towels. And
oh, that's my bucket list, watching Steelers while waving the yellow, the terrible towel. Wow. And
I'm sure you'll get a chance.
Yeah, and then have you ever watched Little Giants?
Yes, actually, it was funny you asked that question about that. Yeah,
so,
I mean,
why were Dallas Cowboys represented as the antagonists?
Yeah, I mean I think it goes with what I was saying before. for all of the number of Cowboy fans, there's equally as many people who hate them, and so it's a good way to make a good villain, right? Because they're a famous team, they're America's team, so making them kind of the big bad guy is sort of fun too. So I can appreciate that, actually. Like it's kind of fun.
Okay, but again, from hatred becomes viewership.
Exactly. It's like you still have to pay attention to us. We're important enough, even if you despise us, we matter. So you have to pay attention to us. You can't ignore us.
Because the key is they hate us because they ain't us.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so now I want to ask you probably the most asked question, or probably the most important question for Cowboys' future.
Mm-hmm.
What about Dak Prescott's situation? Because recently I read news that Dak Prescott, I don't know, I guess he declined probably $40 million dollar contract per year. So what do you think? How many money that Jerry Jones will pay Dak Prescott for his long-term quarterback?
So the important thing to remember is this date is July the 15th, because that's the last day that the Cowboys can negotiate with him
July 15th,
until after the next season, basically. So we still have 6 weeks. So I'm hopeful they will come to a deal. I think, according to what I've read and heard, the dispute is not necessarily about the amount of money, but more about the number of years.
The number of years.
Yeah. So I think what a lot of quarterbacks especially are doing, and really a lot of the star players in the NFL are doing, is they want shorter contracts for big amounts of money, because they want the autonomy, the freedom to choose if they want to move to different teams at an earlier age. Because it used to be you'd sign these longer contracts because you wanted the financial stability and you wanted the chance to stay in the franchise. But I think NFL players today, they want a little bit more flexibility, and so they want shorter years. And so I think the difference right now, it's not a very big amount, but that the Cowboys management wants to, of course, they want to keep him for longer. And I think they'd even be willing to pay more money total to keep him around for longer as the franchise quarterback. But Dak Prescott wants the freedom to be able to say, hey, no, I want the flexibility if I do decide to change my mind and go somewhere else, that I can. I hope it doesn't come to that. I want him around for a long time. I think he's a very, very dynamic player, and he's a good clubhouse leader. I think he's just what the Cowboys need. He's very cool under pressure. He doesn't turn the ball over very often. He's got a good arm, and he's very smart. I think he's perfect for that team. But you never know. I mean, that's part of it too. Is there's always change in the NFL. I mean, if Tom Brady can go to another team, anything can happen.
Okay, but do you think Andy Dalton's arrival to Cowboys gave some warning to Dak Prescott to play better, so Jerry Jones will pay Prescott probably the first player who breaks $40 million per year? What do you think about that?
Right. So I think I actually didn't have a problem with that signing. I don't think it was a warning. I saw it as it's just out of experience because of the last, especially with the Romo years, as he got older and got injured more and more. The Cowboys were left in such a tough situation in a lot of those years with backup quarterbacks who were not very good or were already past their peak. And so they really struggled, even when they had a lot of other talent on the team, because the quarterback play was lousy. I mean, I think about when we had Brandon Whedon as our
Brandon
backup.
Whedon. I remember.
And Kyle Orton and Matt Castle and all
Matt
these
Castle,
guys. And it was painful because the team had so much talent and we couldn't do anything with it because Romo kept getting hurt. And so I think Jerry Jones is like, well, if just to be safe, he's like, I hope it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, we have Andy Dalton as the backup. And he's a quarterback. He's taken Cincinnati to the playoffs many years, or several years. Even though he didn't win a playoff game, at least he got them to the playoffs. So as a backup quarterback, he's a very good choice. And he's the type of guy. He's not he doesn't have a big ego. He's not a show off. So I think he'll be fine being the backup, and he understands his role in that. And I think it's just to be cautious because there's so much talent on the rest of the offense. If Dak Prescott gets hurt, you don't want to ruin the opportunity to still have a decent season. And so that's where I see Andy Dalton as the signing is a pretty good move.
Okay. Interesting.
I think it will work okay.
Okay. Now, I want to ask about the rookie because when I watched NFL draft, I was pretty surprised because Cowboys drafted CeeDee Lamb. I was pretty surprised because I thought CeeDee Lamb will be drafted way higher, but turns out CeeDee Lamb fall down pretty.
Yeah, it was
low.
It was perfect.
Cowboys drafted. What do you think about CeeDee Lamb?
I was very excited when they did that. I was very excited because I thought I was the same as you. I thought he was going to be drafted by the Raiders because they needed a receiver. I thought maybe even a couple other teams could use some wide. Maybe I thought because Miami had so many draft picks in the first round. I thought maybe Miami will try and get him. So that they have somebody for Tua to throw the ball to when he's starting. But then, the fact that he fell, I was so happy because I think it bodes well because the wide receiving core was already good. And now you have the chance for it to be almost like another galaxy. Because you have Amari Cooper and then Michael Gallup, who's starting to play really, really well last year. He's really coming to his own. And then you had Blake Jarwin, the tight end.
Blake Jarwin at the tight end,
solid, good pass catcher and getting better and better every year. And then to add an element like a CeeDee Lamb, just an absolute monster on the field. And very smart, very crisp route runner. And he played in an offense that was very, very dynamic when he was in college with the University of Oklahoma, which, by the way, University of Oklahoma is my college team too.
Okay.
So I've been watching CeeDee Lamb play for a few years and seeing how good he was. So I mean, he is an incredible talent. And I think he just adds because now who do you guard? Who do you defend against when the Cowboys are on offense? Because they can beat you a million different ways now. They got 4 great pass catchers. You've got Ezekiel Elliott still, obviously, and the offensive line I think is still
one of the best.
And so it's gonna be fun to watch. Defensively, of course, I'm a little worried, but maybe we're on the field so much on the offense we don't have to worry so much about the defense.
Okay. Now, but I have some interesting question.
Sure.
Maybe there are teams that have sacred number. Like Seattle Seahawks, like 12 because it's sacred. It's especially for fans. Okay. And then maybe for a quarterback it's 12 because a lot of great quarterback wears 12, like Brady, Rodgers, even Staubach.
I think Staubach was 12 too.
12. As well, in Cowboys, the second number is 88.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was worn by Drew Pearson, Michael Irvin, and Des Bryant, and now it's on CeeDee Lamb. So, do you think the expectation of CeeDee Lamb will be so much higher because he wore that second number?
Yeah, I mean it's a big challenge to wear that jersey. It's the most important Cowboys jersey in many ways the most important on the whole in the history of the Cowboys. The double eights. Here's hoping he lives up to it. I think he will. I think he's going to be a real talent. I think he's going to be great. And I think it's especially good because a lot of rookie wide receivers, they struggle because, the game is different and it's much harder on the professional level than at the university level. But they, on the Cowboys, because you've got three other receivers who are good, it protects him a little bit. And so he'll have time to kind of figure things out and learn the game at the professional level. And then I think, next year, I think he's going to be good, but I think it's really, year 2, year 3, where you're going to see he's going to explode and just be fantastic. So,
wow. Okay. So what's your expectation for Cowboys this 2020
season?
Yeah.
I think I'm very optimistic.
Record?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna be conservative on this. I'm gonna say 10-6.
10-6.
Which I think in that division is going to be good enough to win it because the NFC East is very weak. The Redskins are terrible, which always makes me happy. And the Giants are terrible, which also makes me very happy. And the Eagles are good, but they, I'm very skeptical about Carson Wentz. I don't know that he can stay healthy. I mean, he's a very talented player, but it's so hard because he gets injured so easily. I just think he might be one of those guys who has a lot of bad luck. Sort of like Tony Romo or, there's a lot of players that just unfortunately, they're very, very talented and they're exciting players, but they just can't seem to stay on the field. So I'm optimistic. I think 10-6, I think we win the division. And in the playoffs, anything can happen. Obviously, I hope we make it to a Super Bowl, but you never know. I mean, the Saints are so good. The Buccaneers are going to be so good.
NFC South will be tough to beat.
It's going to be tough, and Seattle is always tough.
Seattle.
Of course, Aaron Rodgers is still in Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers kills the Cowboys every time he plays us. He humiliates us. So. Actually, one of my best friends is a huge Packers fan, and he's just constantly making fun of me. It breaks my heart. One of these days, though, we have to defeat them. Oh, I just hope it. But so the NFC is so competitive. I just it's going to be a really in American slang you say it's going to be a dogfight. It's really just going to be brutal.
It's going to be brutal, very brutal. So Last question.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, optimistic for Super Bowl 55?
I don't want to quite say Super Bowl 55. I would love it to happen, but you got to be realistic about it, about their chances. I mean, it would not surprise me if it's a Brady Mahomes Super Bowl, just because those two guys.
Brady Mahomes.
It would be so exciting too. I think that's actually what the league would want to see. Oh, here's my daughter, by the way.
Oh, hi there. Hi there.
Hi.
So, this is a very, very last question.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Your prediction for Super Bowl 55?
So my prediction for Super Bowl 55. I am gonna say. I mean, obviously, my heart is with Cowboys to be in it, but I have to be realistic.
Yeah.
My guess is Kansas City versus New Orleans.
Kansas City versus New Orleans.
I'm going to say this is New Orleans had so much heartbreak in the playoffs the last few years. I think this is, for the city of New Orleans, I think they're going to do it.
Oh, okay. So
that's
my prediction for Super Bowl 55, Chiefs versus Saints. So thank you so much,
Chiefs, Saints,
Mark, for joining us as our guest. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so
everybody, much. I'm excited for a 2020 season. Please, everybody stay safe and healthy during these crazy times. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Mark, for joining us. Thank you so much from us and our friends Indo at America for facilitating us to meet Mark as an NFL native American sports fan. So I will give it back to Anton as our moderator.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much to both Fadil and Mark. This has been a very wonderful discussion. We've learned more about the Cowboys, the NFL in general, and also we have a prediction from Mark for Super Bowl 55. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs versus the New Orleans Saints. We'll have to see if that is going to be true. And now, thank you very much. We love having you guys, and we'd love to have you guys again next time. And earlier in the event, I asked an ice-breaking question, and that question is, which NFL player has the nickname Beast Mode? And the answer is Marshawn Lynch. He earned that nickname due to how hard he runs the ball. And for getting the answers right, congratulations to @Cowboys Indonesia from Instagram. And we would also like to give a shout out to NFL Fans Indonesia and also these following accounts @Amarshar, @Sekte Patriots, @Cowboys Indonesia, @Timski, and @Tufel Muhammad from Instagram. And now you might be wondering how you can create an awesome event like this. Well, wonder no more. You can come straight to our website at www.atamerica.or.id, click register, and then you can go to create an event, collaborate with us, and you can submit a proposal there, and all of the proposals coming to us will be reviewed, and your event might just end up here very soon. And while you're on our website, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter, and you can receive information about our upcoming events through your inbox. And that's all for tonight, folks. It has been fun. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Ad America TV. Stay safe, and we hope to see you again at the next Ad America TV event. Goodbye, everybody.